Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope you are having a great week so far. I hope you enjoyed the podcast last night. If you don't know, we do a podcast every Tuesday night, hanging out for a couple of hours and answering questions related to reselling or YouTube, live selling, really anything kind of in the wheelhouse of what I do my videos on. So, we are having a great week and our sales have been up and down. It's either like barely anything or it's through the roof. And I'm going to show you the graphs and it's really wild. Etsy, man, Etsy, it's like a switch was flipped, and Etsy gave eBay a run for its money several days last week. And a few of you asked if I could show you what I did on Etsy that I thought was what was making my sales kick in gear. So I'm going to show you that. And this video is a bread and butter video, so it's going to be all items around $20 to $50 that are a little bit easier to find. And the majority of these have sold fast, but I do put longer tail in as well. So there are a few of those in there, and I am going to show you them all right now. So this is pretty crazy, and you can see the numbers here. For the last week, we have done $8,355. And it's 47% of that. So it's actually less than half, which I think is the first time I've ever seen that. Etsy, look at this, 28% almost at 23.30. Whatnot at 15.62 for almost 19%. Posh at 400. Mercari at 85, which is 1%. And poor little Depop down here at 0.5%. I have not been listing to Depop because I really wasn't getting the sales, and I don't know that I will anymore or not, but Etsy surprised me. So we're going to take a look at Etsy first, then Poshmark. The Mercari sale was a higher dollar, and the majority of Etsy was higher dollar as well. So there's going to be 5 items I'm going to show you from Etsy, and the rest will be on the high dollar video that I show you this Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look. First up on Etsy, this was a really cool necklace. It is a vintage Futura clock quartz pendant necklace. I did put silver tone chain. This is not sterling silver. I put it works because we did put a new battery in it, and it sold for $42.49. And that was on my sale. And this was in a watch lot that I got off an estate auction, and it was less than $2. So very low cost. So this one's about a $32 profit. And I get probably about 85 to 90% of my items off of online estate auctions. A lot of you have asked me where I get them. That is where, and primarily it is from HiBid. And I do have a video. I will pop it up top. And I really am working on trying to make a new video for you guys, hopefully soon, just a little bit updated because it's been a couple of years since I've made one. Next up, this is a really cool piece, and this one sold very fast. This is a carved Alaska signed MM native tribal totem pole sculpture. I did put handmade art. Sold for $29.74. Got this in an online auction for about $7. So this one's a $17 profit over on Etsy. And honestly, the profits are probably a little more on Etsy. I calculate my fees at about 20%. That's what they average over on eBay. So Etsy is a little bit less on the fees. And here you can see this was a really neat piece, and it sold very fast within just a couple of weeks. This one was another fast sale. This one sold in just 2 days over on Etsy. It is a Chinese ceramic food dog statue, 7.5 inches. This one I got in an online auction lot. I only paid about $4 for this one. So this one is going to be a $27 profit after the fees. And if you see the $42.49, that's at the 15% off. I had it priced at $49.99. So I will show you guys after the next 2 items how I put that sale on Etsy. Several of you were asking that. This one was not marked. You can see here it's about 7.5 inches. And there is the top of it. I have done pretty well with food dogs, and their prices vary. So you have to kind of look up and find similar colored. And I also look for similar heights as well to give me my comps. Next up, this one's pretty cool. This is a Scottish Distilleries print set by Alistair Buchanan. And I did put vintage matted signed. And this one I got in an online auction lot. I only paid like $1. It was in a bunch of prints that I got. So this one is a $17, $18 profit. And we made the mistake. We didn't measure these prints, and I thought they were 5x7 prints. Turns out they were actually only like about 3x4. And I was thinking the buyer wasn't going to want them, and she did. She purchased them, so I was happy with that. Here you can see it says print from an Alistair Buchanan original painting, Scottish Distilleries. Really, really neat set. And we do have one more set that is actually of different distilleries. So I got 4 of the strips. I separated them into 2. I don't know. Maybe I should have put all 4 and done like a $50 price tag. It's really, really neat, though. He does pictures of all the different distilleries. And this one was a good sale. I put this over on Etsy just because I thought the Etsy audience might like this. But typically, I try and stay around the $50 price point or higher on Etsy. Next is a set of 6 hand-painted glass ornaments. They're striped. These are old world craftsmanship. They are not hand-painted. It says handcrafted on them, but I'm not sure how true that is. These sold for $25.49. This is another thing that, again, there are some things I'm like, oh, I bet that'd sell on Etsy, and then I'll just throw them over there even if they're a lower price. I think these were at $29.99, and then the 15% off sale. These I got in a big Christmas lot. I paid right at like $5 a box. It was close to like $1 an ornament. So $5 to $6 in on this. And this one's a $16 profit. And here you can see these definitely were not hand painted with those perfect stripes. And these are pretty simplistic. It's hard. You saw our phone and those photos. It's really hard not to get yourself or your phone when you have a reflective surface. And these were a good sale, a little bit lower, but I am happy with the profit. And all we do with these is just wrap that whole, since they're each individually wrapped in paper, we will wrap the whole box in bubble wrap and then put it inside of another box. And this one is the last sale for Etsy. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put on the sale, which is one thing I did, as well as accepting offers. You can see that make an offer tab there. All right, so we are on the main page of Etsy. I just went to my shop manager, which is in the top right here. And here you can see I have 1,000 listings on Etsy. I've made almost 500 sales. Here, the 4 factors lowering my search visibility is photos that I crop that they think are not high enough in resolution. So all you will do from here is go to your marketing and then your sales and discounts. And I do have these turned on. I didn't really talk about these. I've had these turned on for a while. So I have abandoned cart offer. So if somebody puts it in their cart, doesn't buy it, I give them 20% off if they will. And then I have thank you offers that I send to people who have bought for me for an extra 25% off. And then if people favorite it, I send 20% off. So all of these offers are stuff you can set up that will automatically go out, and it will help you get more sales. And then if you scroll down just a little bit more, the drive traffic and move inventory, this is where I turned on the offers. So you can see I have it on all of my offers. And I guess I put receive all offers. I didn't even realize this, but you could tell Etsy you won't accept more than 20% off, 30% off, or 40% off. So that's pretty cool. I could remove it. I'm not going to do that. I think it is working well. I think I've only made 2 sales from offers since I've turned it on. The majority of them have come from this. So you just click run a sale. You can click set up. They recommend 25. I do custom and I just did 15%. I'm not going to turn this on because I already have one on, but I didn't want to run it for 25%. So you can do it less. They're telling you 20% gives your orders a boost, but 15% has given my orders a boost. So that is everything that I set up over on Etsy that I think has something to do with helping my sales. And we are going to head over to Poshmark. I have 4 sales I'm going to show you there, and then we will head over to eBay. First on Poshmark, this is a really cool pendant. This is a Bell Trading. Watch carefully because a lot of Bell Trading pieces are nickel silver. They are not sterling silver. My piece was sterling silver, but I have gotten a lot of them from Bell Trading that are nickel silver. So this one I put gift mom, sold for 40. I did pay more for this. A lot of the turquoise pieces, I do have to pay more. I paid about 10. So this one is going to be a $22 profit on Poshmark. And we'll take a look here. Here you can see there's that sterling and the bell. So it will say nickel silver if it is nickel silver. And you can see here it's right under an inch. It was 4 grams. And this one sold in under a month. I had it at 50. Somebody sent me that $40 offer and I went ahead and accepted. Next up, this is a vintage floral oval belt buckle. I did put pink stones, rose quartz, Southwest and cowgirl. This is not a sterling silver buckle. This one sold for 22. Got it for just a couple of dollars in an online jewelry lot. So this one is going to be about a $14 profit on Poshmark. I don't do a ton of belt buckles. I actually just found a couple worth several $100s though. I think I've done a belt buckle video. If I have, I will pop that up top for you. And if I have not, I might do that for my research video on Sunday. The ornaments are still selling, and these took a year to sell. I was really surprised because they are more of a popular style. The UFO lantern ones do well. 6 of these with a box sell for 150. I only had 3 of them. So they sold for $30 and they took a year. They took a while, surprisingly. But you see ornaments are still selling in January. And these are going to be, the payout on these is $24. I paid around $5 for them. So that's about a $19 profit. And I know I say 555 all the time. That is the average for stuff as well as like my smaller sterling pieces. 5 is where I top out unless it's a high dollar item most of the time. And the majority of the time though, I'm getting it for less than that. Next up is this sterling silver ATI abstract swirl wave statement ring, size 7.5, sold for 28. Payout was 22. I paid 5, so $17 profit. And this one sold in about 4 months, so a little bit longer. This is a really, really cool design. There you can see that ATI, and ATI is manufactured in Thailand. We do show the 7.5 on the mandrel, and this one was almost 6 grams. So my payout on this wasn't much more than the melt value. So I've said it a couple times, but definitely pay attention to your sterling items, especially if you have heavier items, because the value has significantly increased over the last year. We haven't had a 0 day in a long time, and I'm hoping we'll get some sales today before the day closes. We are at 0 today, but look at yesterday. $1,500 yesterday. So, I mean, you know, it happens. And I told you guys, if you look at this, it's like, woo, up and down, up and down. Sunday, we did 820, but then Saturday was only 148. Friday was 342, Thursday 440, Wednesday was 647. So a week ago. So we're almost at 4,000 for the week. We are only down by about 3% from the last 30 days. 30 days. And here you can see our 90-day total is holding, it's growing. We're coming up on 54,000. I really want to get that to 60,000, but even with, you know, over 8,000 items, look at that, $0 day. I mean, it happens. I haven't gotten any negative feedback or anything. Sometimes when I do, I feel like that affects my algorithm, but we're at 0 today. However, this week is good at almost 4,000. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at about 15 items that sold between $20 and $50. It is so funny. As soon as I told you guys that, I got an offer of $45 on a clown figurine. So we're not at 0 anymore. So first up, this one took a year and a half to sell, and this is not something I would pick up or that I would list again, to be honest. It is a Waterford, but it is not an overly popular piece. It sold for a best offer of $25, but took a year and a half. So again, not something I would get again just because it takes so long and it's, you know, a little bit lower on the price point. So we will take a look here at closer ups, and it's not big. It's only about 7 inches, but again, not something I would pick up again just because that sell-through rate is so low and it was such a long tail sale. Next up, this one was a little bit faster. This is a vintage Barbie beauty salon play set. I did put nostalgic retro 80s toy with the box, and we did put Reed because some of the pieces were missing. And this one sold in 3 months, so not very long at all. I did pay $10 for this one though, and this one is going to be a $24 profit. And it has the original book, which is kind of cool. It was only missing a couple of things. It did have, you can see like some staining and wear here. And you can see we did 18 pictures. And that's because Barbie collectors want to see the condition of the box as well. So quite a few pictures. There's that Toys R Us. I think, didn't Toys R Us, I think they're still operating online, or they started again, I think I heard. So this one is definitely not in mint condition. If it had been, it would have been worth quite a bit more money, but it was still worth 40, so I was okay paying the 10. Very fast sale on this little carrot. It is 4 inches, a mercury glass antique carrot. Sold for full price at 30. I picked these up for 6 each. This is in the vintage or antique German lot that I got, and they have been selling like crazy since I listed them, which was actually the week after Christmas. So it's been less than a month for this one. So paid that $6. So this one is about an $18 profit, and it's just a single carrot. And you can see here, we show it hanging. It is marked with Germany there. It is hard to read. And it had a little bit of wear, not a ton, but very happy with the sale. And it's crazy. You saw the last sale sold at 40, and it was this giant box. And here we have this little 4-inch carrot selling for 30. So one of my goals for this year is definitely to have more smaller items that take up less space and are a little bit easier to ship. This one really surprised me because it was in a sterling lot. I looked it up and I was like, what? There were 2 that had sold for 40. That's where I priced mine. Mine sold in 2 months. It's a little tiny sterling silver souvenir charm pendant for Churchill Downs in Louisiana, and Louisville, Kentucky. And you can see here just a little model of it. And it does say Churchill Downs on the bottom. And if you see here, this thing is less than an inch. It is teeny, but it was solid. It was almost 7 grams, sold for that $40. So it is going to be about a $27 profit in 2 months. This piece I absolutely love. It's a F. Scott Fitzgerald quote on a sterling silver pendant. We did put the necklace with this one. It was listed for 4 months. I took a best offer of $25. I paid $5. So this one's a $16 profit. Really neat. Here you can see it says, "You are the finest, loveliest, tenderest, and most beautiful person I have ever known." And even that is an understatement. So I think somebody probably got this for a gift. You can see on the back it is signed with the F. Scott Fitzgerald and sterling. And this one was a 21-inch necklace and a great sale. Took 4 months and a little bit lower on the price, but still a good profit. Next is this lion and unicorn Irish linen tea towel. This one was not listed long. Watch those tea towels because some of them can be extremely, extremely valuable. This one sold for $24.99. I got it in a linen lot. So this one was actually less than $1, which is absolutely crazy. And this one is close to a $19 profit. Really neat. And here you can see very, very clearly marked lion and unicorn by Ulster. It was Irish linen. And I did have that in my title. This one was crisp. It still had its creases, and I could tell it definitely had not ever been used. I had to put this little doll up. This was the cutest thing, and it was crochet. I got it in an online auction lot, just a couple of bucks. I accepted a best offer of 20, so it's like a $14 profit, but this thing was so cute. Do you see it? It's all crocheted. It's a little Scottish boy with his bagpipes. And it was 16 inches. This, honestly, we shipped it out today, is probably my favorite thing that I shipped out, behind the #1 selling item that you'll see in the high dollar what sold on Friday. The ornaments can be hit or miss, and these were a miss. I had them priced at $55. I think that was actually a fair price, but they took a year to sell in a $22 offer. I was like, let them go. I've had them a year. And it is, again, the indents, which are really popular, the UFO style. And you've seen quite a few that I got that have been selling within just a few weeks. So not sure with these if it was my title. I use the same titles I used on the ones that sold fast. So I'm not sure. Maybe it just took that long for somebody who loved them to come along. But again, only a $22 sale on these, and they are going to be about a $14 profit, but they took over a year. This North Face men's sweatshirt took about 4 months to sell. So I accepted a best offer of 25 on it. I paid at $5 for this one in an online sweatshirt lot. And I will get clothing lots on auctions if they are name brands that I think will do well. So 4 months, I don't think is too bad for the sweatshirt. It was a good size at the XXL. So it's a $16 profit, but took the 4 months, which isn't horrible. Honestly, I would be happy if I got like a 6-month average. I showed this as my front picture. That was the back of the sweatshirt because the front just has the North Face logo. So that is why I opted with this one versus this one. And I do recommend that if you have t-shirts that have really cool graphics on the back, I would use that as your front picture versus the front of the shirt. Next up, and I don't really know that I necessarily agree with this, but eBay still does an authenticity guarantee. Even though I sold these for $40, I sent out a 60% off offer, and the buyer's not necessarily happy about it because they wanted these fast. And because at $100, they have the authenticity guarantee, even though I sent that 60% off offer, they are still going there. And these are Nike LeBron James 3s. I got them in a big consignment buyout well over a year ago now. So I am sending out 60% off offers on a lot of those shoes. I want them gone. These are size 7, and they do have the box. The box had a little bit of wear though. We'll take a look here. And here you can see that's the number you want to look up, that D0354-001, if you were to find these in a thrift store or an online auction. And here you can see they still had the tag brand new. They were even on sale for $119.99. They were originally $185, and I had them at $100 for over a year. They did not sell, and I had to give that 60% off offer in order to get them sold. But that lot is in the profit, so everything I'm getting from items from that lot now are profit, and these will be about $32 after the fees. Next up, this one's a really cool piece. This is a vintage Chinese trade carnelian jade. It also had lapis lazuli. I put cabochon gemstone hand travel mirror. I paid $10 for this one. It was in like a small ladies lot and took a best offer of 40. This one took 5 months to sell, and it is going to be a $24 profit. Really, really neat piece, though. I love finding stuff like this. And you can see here, and we do zoom in and show it, there was some wear on that outer case. Somebody loved and used this mirror quite a bit. Really, really pretty little piece, and a great sale at 40, even though it did take 5 months. Next up, I love this piece. This is the vintage Vera Newman Daffodils and Poppies tablecloth. This one sold for full price, $49.99. It did take 7 months. I am okay with that. I paid about $5 for this one at the thrift store. Definitely caught my eye with those bright colors. And I tell you guys all the time, vintage linens are really hard to guess what the sell-through rate's going to be. And I'm okay with 7 months on a tablecloth. I love selling vintage linens. So this one is going to be about a $36 profit. And Vera is a name I know mostly from scarves because I found a ton of Vera scarves. You can see here there was a little stain on it, so we do want to show that. There is the Vera tag, made in China, 100% cotton. 7 months to sell, but a decent profit on this one. I love these. I would pick them up again. I got them at the thrift store for $2, but they took 1.5 years to sell. So this is another thing. These are kind of vintage, one-of-a-kind items. You never know if they're going to sell fast or if they're going to take forever. So you just have to keep that in mind if you like picking stuff like that up. So these are going to be about a $20 profit. They did sell for full price at that 1.5 year point, which I am okay with. You can see just made in China, but the stones had little inlaid stones, which was really cool. I didn't put that in my title. Perhaps that would have helped them to sell a little bit faster. And I put with lip because I think some people like that. So if it sweats, it kind of catches it. And these are something, again, I would pick them up again, even though they might take a little bit longer to sell. This Christopher Radko had the box. It sold in 3 months, and Radko prices vary from like this. I've seen them cheaper than this all the way up to over $1,000, depending on how sought after they are. So definitely look them up because I would hate for you to pay up for something like this and then it's only worth 25. So I paid $5 for this one. It was in a lot with other ornaments. It's a $16 profit, sold in the 3 months, and excellent condition. Still had the tag on it. You can see here the girls and boys list. There is that Christopher Radko tag. It was from 1995, so it was vintage. And again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worth a ton. Really, what it depends on is how limited edition it was and how sought after the ornament is. Another one that took 1.5 years to sell and took a $40 offer. These are so amazing. These are marble. They were actually 7 pounds, and they are little utensil holders, set of 2. And this is another one you have no way of knowing a true sell-through. It's not branded, so it's not something that you can look up. And these were very heavy. Luckily, I weighed these and knew, so I didn't lose out on that shipping. Originally just got these in an auction lot, so they are going to be about a $30 profit. This one is really funny, and there were several other sales that were under that $20 point. Elena, Treasure Diva Thrifts, and I have been starting to go through some of the inventory. We had a lot of clothes stuffed in totes. It took forever to find them, and we organized them, and a ton of them have been selling, and they've been listed for well over 1 year, like this one. And it's funny because you will hear people say, oh, if you touch it, it'll sell. And we went through the totes, reorganized. So I don't know if it was that or the fact that I just updated the SKU, just a little bit of, change to it, but it's sold for full price. And this one I got at a thrift store for $1. So this one's an $18 profit. And I think there were like 4 or 5 things. It was really kind of crazy. Look, we didn't notice that the background remover removed some of it there. Here you can see the size 38. It is Movie Star brand. And I do have a couple other ones of those. So this one did have staining, which could contribute to why it didn't sell. But I like picking up the vintage slips when I can get them for $1 and turn them into 25. Last up for this video, this is a really cool I can't talk. World War II Colonel Eagle rank pen sterling. It was made by Meyer Shoulder Form and sold for full price of $34.99. Did take 3 months. I paid $5, and this one is going to be a $24 profit. And it's crazy because a lot of people would think like World War II military pens would be more valuable, but these were made in such mass that the supply is not outweighing the demand. So here you can see it was just below 6 grams and an excellent sale at 35. I am happy with that profit and with it only taking 3 months to sell. All right, that was everything. I hope you enjoyed. I'm glad we got one sale at least for the day over on eBay. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you're an Etsy seller, hopefully what I showed you might help boost your sales a little bit. I've been seeing, though, in like reseller groups and things like that, a lot of people are saying that Etsy is on fire, plus you guys in my comments. I really do appreciate you watching. We will have a high dollar what sold video on Friday, so to make sure, I don't know why I can't talk today, make sure to keep an eye out for that. I really do appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next one.